up? Peep'n ToM here. Tutorial Tuesday, except it's Wednesday again. Had a crazy weekend. Played two festivals. And then on the way to the second one, my transmission blew in my car, and I was stuck in like BC, which is like 12 hours away from where I live, and it's fucking crazy. But managed to get to this festival and destroy it in front of like 1,500 people. Both of them were in front of like 1,500 people. It was super tight. Headline both of them. It was hella sick. Got some video of footage of that shit too. Boop. But today, what I'm going to talk about is I'm going to do a quick one, quick like easy tutorial because I have so much shit to do, it's retarded. And I'm going to do a knife party one next week, and then I have a bunch of requests to do different tutorials. So I think I'm going to eventually I'm going to do one of like how to make a track, like a complexo track or something sweet that I like to make. And then I'll do one on like build-ups and shit because someone requested that. So if you have any requests that I can... If there's quick ones that I can pop out quickly, maybe I'll just do a bunch and I'll put them all in one or something like that. I don't know, whatever. Okay, let's dive into this. So the one I'm talking about today is I'm going to explain my live template and how I set up, or how I start a track, basically. This is free to download. Most fucking producers don't give shit to anybody, and I'm giving you fucking my whole studio template, the fucking pain in the ass to set up, and it's super like tight, and it makes your workflow way freaking easier. All right, so I'll just go through each channel and show you what I have on each channel and how I like what's on each thing. So first two things right here, this is where I keep, usually when I do a remix or some shit, they'll have like MIDI files, so I'll drag them all up here so I won't have to fucking keep going back into all this section to find them. So I usually duplicate them when I bring them down. I'll bring them down here and keep a fresh like original copy up there. Same with audio samples. Every fucking buddy uses audio samples. You can use... sometimes I'll pick like sweet like little bleeps and bloops that I like and throw them up there. Other times I'll have the stems for a remix thing, the pack that I'll have up here that I need to use. Usually I'll have 4 or 5 of these because I'll have so many different audio samples. Another one that I usually put in too, like depends if I'm making a new track, like a new genre of track that I haven't made before, I will use, I'll put it like a whole, like I call it like a reference track. So it's just like, I don't know, if you don't know how to make dubstep or some shit, you put the reference track out and you kind of copy the drums and then figure out your own shit. And like do all your own shit, but like the basic formula of how it's mapped out. I usually like to learn how to do stuff. It's called like scaffolding, but I use it to figure out how to do tracks. Then in this section right here, then I use Reason because just for some of the crazy fucking sounds, because Reason's dope as shit. I have 2 Reason things here. One's for Reason because you can't. It's just with Reason, it's a pain in the ass to bring things to use it in the track like a million times, so I just record it all to audio, which I would actually recommend. I was watching a bass clef tutorial the other day, and he fucking everything he does, so like all his builds, his vocals, all that shit, he busts them down busts everything down to audio, and I think and I'm going to start doing that. I started partial way through on my last track, but I'm definitely going to start it this like from now on, bouncing everything to audio, just in case shit gets fucked up. You still have your audio file saved and you can still rearrange it, and just a way better time saver. You don't have to fucking go back, and MIDI's so unpredictable. Sometimes it doesn't fucking work, sometimes it doesn't. Pain in my fucking ass. But so yeah, in that regard, in Reason, I have just I put the patch in here and then I bounce it to audio, which I put because usually everything has a side chaining on it. I throw it on there just to see how it sounds, and then I'll record it into audio, and then I can bring it either into my audio section or whatever the fuck I want to put it. Okay, kick trig, I use the same one for each track. It's just a simple kick, whatever the fuck it is, and I drop the volume down to minus infinity, so there's no sound coming to that. If you don't know how to do this using like a kick trigger or like a fake kick bus for like side chaining, go look it up. There's tutorials on it. I'm not gonna explain it. It basically shows, yeah, you just look it up. Kick trigs are really useful. Okay, my drum bus. I'll go through this first. So my drum bus, you have an EQ8. Mixgel, I've been using, I use the preset Mixgel like previously. Now I'd probably just use a regular compressor because I find I can understand compressors way better with in this view of Ableton, which is really cool. Then I usually don't go overboard and all this shit. I just put these on here just in case. So I have Sonic Maximizer, which is just the dopest shit. Oh, fuck yeah, my new fucking computer. I have to register all this shit again. So Sonic Maximizer is the shit. I usually put that on, thickens your drums together. Sausage fat never even needs like an extra bit of bite. Actually, I wouldn't even put that on now these days. With that fab filter, I usually use this one to clear off, to do some initial EQing, and then this one after like my effects to tighten everything up and use it like for specific like surgical EQing. Spectrum analyzer, it's on every fucking track. You should have built it in with that. And then a limiter just to fucking check shit out, just to make sure everything's balanced. Kicks, I'm not going to go through this one either because I have a fucking whole other tutorial that I'll put in the description, or like link right there to how to make dope ass drums. Basically that explains it. Yeah, the only thing I added that I might not have added there is I got this plugin called Bassism. It's basically a sine wave generator. Yeah, I don't know if you can hear that. Just make sine waves, and you can start off by getting the frequency so you can get it right in the right key. That's usually where I start with drums, finding the right key kick, and then adding higher end kicks to it to make it better and thicker and shit. So yeah, just check out the tutorial. I have it all on there. On that other tutorial, how to do the kicks. I'm not going to explain that. Same thing. You can see all this in the kick tutorial. Then claps and snares. Someone asked me to do how to make thick fucking dope claps and snares like Will Sparks and shit like that. So I can explain that briefly. It's not hard. I have 4. Usually I use 4 audio tracks. See, I have 3. Let me just minimize this. So I have clap snares. Make this bigger. Clap snares audio, then clap snares MIDI, and then or claps MIDI and snares MIDI. I stopped using MIDI, these ones, because over here, like Impulse, I just don't like using Impulse for the claps. I prefer to like lay it out specifically like in the audio file. Like I'll just go to fucking, let's see, shit, what are the samples? Like Vengeance or something. So some Vengeance sample pack or something, and I'll just go to claps. And I'll find a clap and I'll fucking put it in here. And then, just because I can see, I like layering a bunch of claps, so I'll put like 2 claps usually, and then I'll put snare, oh shit, okay, yeah, like something like that. I'll put a snare, and then what I like to do is put the snares behind and the claps just a little bit forward. So whatever it sounds like, I don't know, it's gonna sound, that actually sounds pretty dope. So yeah, yeah, it sounds pretty dope actually. That was random. I tried to put these in key too. These not that big of a deal to put in key. Knock off all the low end. So instead I do all the same shit, and I would do it in the snare MIDI, but I stopped using snare and clap MIDI. It's because it just didn't work. I like to just I'd rather use audio files than they're the same thing, and you're just putting it into simpler, it's like a sample machine. So on these channels I have what is this? EQ8 and fab filter, same thing. Usually I just cut off the lows, unless it's like a thick snare. I'll cut off all the lows, so they don't interfere with the kick, and then just layer them on top of each other, put them in the snare bus, and then I use a compressor and an EQ8 just to, again, kill those highs, maybe boost some shit in here, just to see where, is this on? There we go. There we go. So I'd cut all this shit out, and about 200, yeah, I'd probably boost around here. Yeah, so I'd do that. And then actually what I also would do on this bus would put, I'd have this compressor going down, just to get some gain reduction on all of them, kind of squishes them together. Then I potentially would put a sonic maximizer, or not sonic maximizer, where is it? A harmonic maximizer. Just because I find that uses the like higher frequencies, it like molds them together better. I don't know, try it out, fucking feel it out. But yeah, so that's basically all that shit. So my snare bus, super easy. Then the Hercs, this one again, I don't really use Hercs. Sometimes if I'm making like a tech house track, I'll definitely put some perks in there and like mix them up with like, cause in like this MIDI folders, put in your samples, pop them in, do the exact same pretty much process that I use with the claps and snares. So that's all percussion stuff. Loops too. Loops, this is a really big one I use. I should put more in here, so just like duplicate this a bunch. Excuse me. This is to show, yeah, so I grab, usually when I start a track, I really like to get some good like movement and percussion in it, depending on like the track. The stuff I've been using lately, doing lately, I like using lots of percussion. So I'll go through my samples or whatever, and then I'll usually chop up different samples and get, I don't know, like I'll go to like a sample pack or whatever. Like for example, these are all 140 loops. These won't work. This is an old sample pack. Oops. So I'll get an old sample like this. I think this is a gay sample, but. And then if I like this little bit of it, like maybe this, I'll cut all this stuff out and I'll get like 12 or like 13 sets of samples, sets of loops, and I'll cut out just the stuff that I like, and then usually I'll bounce it to one big thing of audio. Again, in the loops section, I have just same thing, cuts off the lows, fab filter. I put a PSP vintage warmer on. That's just like another compressor that like tightens and warms everything up. Don't usually use sausage fattener. Compressor again, that's all just basic shit. What else? Fills, so I have a fill bus, I guess. And this is, if you don't use fills, you're fucking gay and you're like not doing it right. You gotta use fills to like make everything way more interesting. Look up fills. I'm not gonna explain what fills are. They're just like, or how to use them. Usually you put them at the end of like bars just to make everything interesting. But again, these are, I have just four here because I usually use four different ones. Pretty straightforward, same thing, cut off the lows, compress it, it's really simple. Build, same thing, so all these ones are percussion, they all go to the drum bus, and in the drum bus I'll do some more EQing, bring them all together, and again, Sonic Maximizer just boost the shit out of everything. Alright, build, yeah, build, same thing. Usually what I'll do is pan I'll keep the snare build going down the middle, and then I'll have like two risers on the side, like not what are they called? Not like the white noise riser, but like the wobbly crazy risers. I'll put two of them on each side and pan one pan left and one to the right. And I'll usually keep the snare drum one in the middle, and that's why I have three. So you can try that out. That definitely gives a more intense, fuller build. And then in the bus, same thing, all the same shit. Vocals, I have a crap load of stuff on. This I use for reverse reverb. Look up tutorials how to use it. I'm not gonna explain it right now. It just makes the introduction of your vocals way more professional. There's that. So you figure this is all set up how to use it. Just go YouTube, YouTube tutorial it. See if you can, and it'll explain how to do it. All the vocals I usually have in audio because I just get them recorded in, and I usually cut off the lows and PSP vintage warmer to mesh them all together. And I throw this auto tune on here too because most vocals are fucking bullshit now, just a little bit out of key, and this just tightens everything up. On to the what's going on here? To the breakdown section. Okay, so breakdown and lead section, depending on what kind of track you're doing, you want to, I usually will, I separated the breakdown to lead section because lots of the time you'll use the same sounds over, like you'll use a lot of the same shit that you use in the breakdown, and then you'll bust it back in the lead section or whatever goes over top of the bass. But why I separate them is because there's different types of EQing that you have to do throughout the song. So like while it's over like a bass, if you're doing a progressive track, for example, you'd make a breakdown with like 5 or 6 different like piano and like synths and shit coming through. But and those synths may reappear in the lead section, but because they're over top of a bass and they're fighting with different in different frequency ranges with different shit, then it's way easier to just duplicate it and put them in a different section and then EQ them separately. I find that, at least this is my prerogative on it, and I think it works. What I would advise though is when you do get the lead section, excuse me, or your synth section that you use, you should definitely bounce it to audio, because I made a progressive track. It had 7 or 8 fucking VSTs or like tracks for just a breakdown, and then like 13 like melodies coming in on top of each other everywhere on the on the lead section, and my computer kept crashing. Like just this, what was it? Alicia Keys just destroys memory, and just duplicating that a couple times destroys it. So bounce the audio and separate them into a breakdown section and a lead section. So in the breakdown section, as you see, I have just general MIDI tracks that you can copy and paste these or duplicate them or whatever. I usually have a few I have the leads in the breakdown section are basically the same. Has 2 MIDI and 2 audio tracks in case I want to put some audio and some MIDI in there. The MIDI tracks just have an EQ, a compressor, fab filter, and a compressor at the end for side chaining. And the audio tracks have the same thing. So usually I drop like a silent or massive or something in there, make my leads and breakdowns, or make my breakdown, and then I put this on just in case I want to have different compression, like side chaining on specific synth. But usually I'll turn it off and just keep a main compressor on over the whole thing, because it just keeps everything the same, like pumping the same way. Again, on the breakdown section, I have an EQ to just kind of get some basic EQing done first, compress it to tighten everything up, then a fab filter to do more surgical EQing, and then a vintage warmer to fatten it up and to compress it a little bit more, and then side chaining. Sausage fattener may or may not use, I don't know. Okay, breakdown section, lead section again. This section, so like the same as this, this would be over top of the bass. I would have, this is like, just the EQing is like different. Or it's different from the breakdown section. So that I have, yeah, fucking same thing. Basically, is exact same thing. So leads, 2 MIDI tracks and 2 audio tracks. Then the bass. So this is bass fat, because I used to have a bass not fat, and what that meant is that I had a sausage fattener on one, because when I was making Complexo tracks, the bass. When I put a sausage fattener on the master channel, it would, like, depending on some of the either audio files or the VSCs, it would just flatten the sound out and kill the bass and just make it all high and take it all that gritty, like, subbiness. So I just use a fat one now. I just still turn this off, but excuse me. Same thing. EQ, compressor, another EQ, fattener, and vintage warmer, and that's basically all I have for the bass section. I didn't put a sub section in here. I should put one in here. A sub, and I always put it on the sub section. All the same shit, except at the end I would put, I'll do that right now. Duplicate. I'll delete all this shit except for one MIDI track. Okay, I'll rename the sub. I like to have this screen. Or is it this screen? It's this screen, I think. Yeah. And then I put on, where is it? Audio effects, utility. I throw on a utility onto the end, the very, very end of there. And I put the width down to 0. So what that does, it makes it mono, and you should always have your sub bass and your bass kick in mono. So I'll throw that usually on to the bass kick as well. Other than that, then I have an effects section with an array of, this is a broad, like, spectrum of shit. There is like the risers. I just have a couple. I usually pop in a bunch of different risers, and then downshifters, and a bunch of impacts. Those are basic effects that I use. I remember I went to like this class with Il Gates like a couple years ago, and I didn't really understand at the time, but now I do. That if I usually listen at the very end, because I do all this shit first, and then put this in at the end. So the track should sound dope as shit without the effects first, and then when you put the effects in, it just like gives it that extra like sparkle. Now, along with all this stuff, I have where's the returns? This one. So I have a bunch of returns. I definitely took these from Vespers. I bought them off Vespers, and see, Vespers short reverb. But You can have them for free. I don't give a shit. It was only like $5 or something. His short reverb, long reverb, short delay, and long delay. These are his ones. Personally, I'm not a big fan of using these ones. I always have to go in and tweak it and do my own thing because like his short delay is like too short for me. His long delay is too ridiculous. So I always go in and tweak it. But they're good, like a little preset to have. Also, Exciter. This thing basically just brings out all the high harmonics of the track or of a sound, sorry, and yeah, just fiddle around with that. That's this one. This one I don't really use that much. And then a sausage fattener. So why this is on the master or the return channel is because you can use like what I was saying with the bass. If you turn it up through the set to the return track, then it still keeps the fatness, but it also like aggressifies. That's not a word, but you know what I mean. The track. So it gives a more aggressive track, but then it's not going through all this processing. So I only use as a tad. Like I know I think I have this turned up. Oh, no, I don't even have it turned up. I would turn it up all the way and just put it up like to -60, just a smidgen to give it that extra little bit of fatness. But sometimes I don't even use that. And then, excuse me, on my master, these are my master presets. They're not. I'm still learning how to master like stuff. Obviously, I get it sent off to my label that master shit, but I put a compressor on, fiddle around with that, EQ, take off the really lows because in the club, the super lows sound shit. Same with the super highs. Put a PSP vintage warmer. I always put on mastering first aid. It's the dopest preset. Sausage fattener. I mess around with that. That's basically my own preset. And then I always put this on here. And I turn this on enough just to check. You should always check your shit in mono. So if it sounds like garbage in mono, it'll probably you probably have to go back to the drawing board. Although sometimes it's impossible to make anything sound good in just mono. At least I haven't been able to make everything sound good in mono. So I just, yeah, mess around with it. I also do put Ozone 5 on here to mess around with stuff, but that's too much to talk about today. And it kills your CPU. All right. That's my tutorial on how to use my template. Go use it or like go modify it yourselves. If you have any ideas how to improve it, hit me up. Email me and let me know. Yeah, if you're around Alberta, the area in Canada, I'm playing in BC this weekend and then next weekend in BC again, then the next weekend after that in just like 2 hours worth from where I am. So if you're around, come hit me up and I'll be fucking destroying dance floors. Subscribe to my podcast. There's a link up there. Yeah, right up there. And yeah, we have a monthly podcast on DI.FM. It's pretty tight. Got lots of sweet guests on there, and it's tons of dope music, all the track lists and shit you ever want. Yeah, and I have a killer song coming out in 2 weeks, I believe. It's called My Love, and it's super dope. Maybe I'll do a tutorial on walking through that after it comes out. But yeah, next week I'll do a knife party one. The crazy, like, what's the name? What's that sound? The bonfire sound. I figured out how to do that. It's pretty freaking ridiculous. But yeah, check me out. Sign up to all my shit. Like my stuff. Peace.